Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Oh, there we go. There we go. You're right. Was muted. So I'll start that over. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Great to see everybody today. Welcome to the welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. I hope everybody's doing well. It's getting up to 70 degrees at my place today, so I think we're on the other side of the weather, at least for now. So hopefully everybody is doing well too. Let's see. I feel like I'm rounding a corner here because I set up the RavenCon 0, our test on Saturday. So I got that set up, which has been a major focus of mine over the past several weeks, basically all of 2024, it seems like. So we got that set up, so that's ready to run. I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But that means that I can now move on to other projects Although I'm thinking that maybe the next thing to do is to do the house cleaning. I was thinking that either needs to happen today or tomorrow. Having a clean house, especially after I was basically just stuck in this room while it was so cold. Things have gotten out of control. So we're going to be, and then also writing. Got story writing to do. Really want to be able to draft a story before the end of the month. Last night, well, I'll talk about that in just 1 second. Let me go ahead and bring up what's going on here. So tonight at 8 o'clock, Retro Nerd Girl is going to be on Table Talk. So let me put in I'll put on a direct link to Retro Nerd Girl. You may want to hit the notify me on this one because it is going to be an hour later than ordinary. She needs to start at 8 instead of 7 Central. So we're starting at 8 Central time. Table Talk tonight at 8. p.m. Central. So that's an hour later. But Retro Nerd Girl, we're going to be getting to know her because she's been on the streams several times, but it's always been with other people coming in. She came in full throttle. So we're going to get to know her, who she is, what she does, the kinds of things she likes first. And then we both happen to like the or like He-Man. So we're going to talk about the 1987 He-Man movie. I think that would be a good one to talk about after we have a general discussion with her. I'm really looking forward to get to know her better. So that is tonight at 8 o'clock. Then also, hey, on Sunday, is this right? This says premieres in 2 days. I'm going to have to check that. Let me check. I'll have to check my date here because that should be Sunday. Maybe I accidentally did it for Saturday. Yeah, maybe I accidentally booked that for Saturday because it should be Sunday. Sunday at 1 o'clock, we're going to be re-airing the discussion that I had with Doug about Silence of the Lambs. That was over here on my channel originally, the Heath's Geekverse channel. It's moving over to the Table Talk channel. So that's supposed to be on Sunday at 1 o'clock. I'm going to have to check and be sure that that's right. Silence of the Lambs. So let's see. How was all here? I got thrown off because my audio was off. So Sable is here. Good morning. Andrew is here. Good morning. And Daniel. Good morning. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, PH. Yeah, PH says, I remember being frustrated by that movie, but at the time we used to enjoy whatever we had. If it was today, it would be something else. I think talking about the He-Man movie there. So, all right, our main topic for today is going to be taking a look at the index card RPG again. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on that topic because I was going to look at it in the context of RPG design. And but that's all right. I wanted to take a look at it anyway because I wanted to see about potentially putting it into the coffee shop. And it is there kind of anyway because the virtual coffee shop can have the index card VTT installed. But I wanted to look at it again for the purposes of RPG design, even though I'm still a few days away to getting on that. By the way, so we did for the cultists last night or yesterday. Brianna and I worked yesterday. She was working on designing board game boxes. So she was getting the graphic design for board game boxes ready. And then also she and Adam Botsford were working together for the cover of the Cultist RPG. So I got to get the words written. So like turning the battleship. What's the next thing to be obsessed about? Well, it's going to be RPG design and board game design. Probably right after I do a massive house cleaning. It'll make everything go better. But we got the cover looking really good. Adam Botsford has done a great cover for the Cultist RPG. So I'm really looking forward to that. I was going to say last night as well, I went to, was not my first writer's critique. Writer's critique group because but it was my first time to have read. So I read a story from the Tales of Rabavania at Drake's writer's critique group called the Writer's Room. And if you had not seen Maxwell Alexander Drake, he was on Table Talk with us and he wrote the book. This is not a paid advertisement, by the way, but he wrote the book Dynamic Story Creation, which I absolutely loved. It was my first the first book that I got. I heard him speak at Gen Con on dynamic story creation as part of the Writers Symposium and dynamic story creation. He talked about this book and I went right over and I bought this book. He has got a lot of great things to say about story. We had him on Table Talk, and it was a fantastic conversation. But he runs this online writers group, and he gave everybody who's part of Table Talk and part of our community here a discount on getting into this critique group. So I'll put a link here. He gave us the discount link. It was fantastic. So if you need something like this, writers room, I'll put the link here. You can sign up there, and that's got a discount on it. But it was fantastic. I got so much feedback. So I took 990 words for critique yesterday. You can't take more than 1,000 words. So I had 990 words to critique. Left with over 1,000, with over 3,000 words worth of notes on those. So there was a lot to say, and basically I did everything wrong. So everything was wrong. So if you were like, we talk a lot about the story structure side of things. What is the story? Obviously on Table Talk. That's what I've basically been obsessed with for the past, I don't know, I guess 18 months, especially with Brianna. Like, what is the story structure? All of that. But this was all about the words that you wrote. Are those words any good? And basically, mine were not. One of my favorite things. So I was trying to write a story for like my 8th grade nephew, not 8th grade, 8-year-old nephew. I said, all right, because I was having so much trouble dealing with the other story for the Tales of Rabavania. So I started writing the short story, which is the one I want to finish drafting this month, although I'm running out of time. But one of the higher level critiques was that it was not appropriate for that age level. But then somebody else came in and said, no, there is actually a subgenre of middle grade fiction that this story I'm writing belongs to, and that's a subcategory for therapists to read with children who are dealing with trauma. And I was like, oh, that wasn't exactly what I was going for, but I love it. I love that kind of critique. So maybe one day, if I ever manage to get Tales of Rabavania stories read, written, I'll be sitting at a booth one day under a banner with the books, and the banner says, the Tales of Rabavania, stories for children with trauma. So I don't know. So we'll see. But absolutely have to rewrite everything. So if you want to go in deep on, it was all about going in deep on the actual words that you are writing. And yeah, got lots of feedback. Okay, so that was going on. So that happened. If you want to be a part of that, it is a lot of fun. It's a whole online community. And there are several writing critique pods like that a week. So I'm going to keep going. Obviously, I'm going to rewrite, and I'm going to take stuff back next week for critique as well. But okay, on Saturday. Okay, so on Saturday, I'm calling it RavenCon 0. This is like session 0, my test here, because I got everything set up. Saturday, the 27th, 5 o'clock to 10 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to open up the coffee shop, the online gaming coffee shop. If you want, I've got a $3 ticket right here in order to try out the ticketing system. So, I mean, eventually we'd have to pay for the software and things like that to run something like the coffee shop anyway. But I just want I want to also be able to try out this entire ticketing system. So I know some people are already in. So you should have gotten, I think I haven't heard anything back from everybody or anybody that's saying that I didn't get what I was supposed to get, because you should immediately get one of the a PDF of the ticket. So the ticket comes as a PDF that has all the login links, the password, all of that. So that system should work. This is the first test of this part of the system here. So if you want to be a part of it, it's on ravenkeep.net here. Saturday, 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time until 10 p.m. Central Time. You can play whichever one of these different games you want to play. I set up a game of Hero Quest to play just after 5 o'clock. So I'll host and Zargon Hero Quest. the trial quest 1 for anybody who would like to be a part of that. And then I will I also put up a Wizard's Quest, which is like the Risk army versus army game that I built. And we can play other things too. We know we got other things that we can do. But I put those 2 on the schedule. So I'll sit down and do Hero Quest at 5, a little just after 5, and then about 7:30 try out Wizard's Quest. Of course, if you'd rather do something else, that's fine. We can change up things as we're going. Or if we get there and we want to play something else, we are welcome to, because we can play anything else you want. But if you want to be there and help me try out all of this stuff, try out the entire system for running an event like this from the beginning all the way through, through playing and learning all about the system integration, how we've integrated all these different systems and make sure that it's working well. That is Saturday, and I can only have 7 more people in. So if you want one, there are 7 more slots available for Saturday, and I would love to have you. We will have fun and play games. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to play some more Hero Quest, and I'd really love to play Wizard's Quest. It's been so long, but we can play whatever and have a great time. And then if that works, then we'll make whatever revisions are necessary, and then we'll see about holding a larger event. But I would love to see everybody on Saturday. If you'd like to, got the link down below. And then you should immediately receive a PDF ticket with all the login information. If not, let me know. Hey, James. James, I was just talking about the critique group with Maxwell Alexander Drake and how that went last night. I was thinking about you after that last night, because you're talking about being so big on the editing phase of things. Lots and lots of comments and critiques that came back from that. All right. Let's do our morning reading. If you've got in-person D&D, then definitely play in-person D&D. There'll be another opportunity. All right, so let's take this down. All right, so everybody got your favorite beverage this morning? I've got mine right here. Let's do our self-reflection and focus for the morning. Let's do 2 deep breaths in through the mouth, out through the nose, complete inhales, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then we'll take a sip of our favorite beverage. All right, so here we go. Let's breathe. And sip. All right. So, in the spirit of writing critique groups and everything like that, we should talk about, see what Stephen Pressfield has to say about Turning Pro. So this is Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. This is where we are. The professional trusts the mystery. Patricia Ryan Madsen taught improv at Stanford for years to standing room only classes. Her book, Improv Wisdom, is on my short list of indispensables. Patricia has an exercise that she calls What's in the Box. She asks her students to imagine a small white box. Imagine a lid on this box. Now lift the lid. What do you find inside? Sometimes students say a diamond, sometimes a frog, sometimes a pomegranate. The trick is there's always something inside the box. With this exercise, Patricia was addressing her students' seminal terror, that they would get up on stage and draw a blank. The professional trusts the mystery. He knows that the muse always delivers. She may surprise us. She may give us something we never expected, but she always puts something inside the box. We're following all 5 axioms derived from this principle that I work by every day. Work over your head. Writers of fiction learn early that it's possible to write a character who is smarter than they are. How can this be? The answer lies in mystery. That place that we write from, or paint from, or compose from, or innovate from, is far deeper than our petty personal egos. That place is beyond intellect. It's deeper than rational thought. It's instinct, it's intuition, it's imagination. If you and I cast Meryl Streep as Queen Boudica in our next Hollywood blockbuster, Will we have any doubts that she can pull it off, even though she has never heard of and knows nothing about Queen Boudica? Miss Treep will go to wherever it is that she goes, and it'll come back with Queen Boudica. She will have become Queen Boudica. You and I do it too. We can work over our heads. Not only can we, but we must. The best pages I've ever written are pages I can't remember writing. I was thinking about that too. What's in the box? What's in the box? All right, so let's pull up index card, because I like that organization of the index card RPG, as we're kind of refreshing our memory on it here. It started with how to play. It did take a little bit of time actually getting into the core rules of how to play. This is the quick start guide, but it did start with how to play and not, hey, how to make a character. We talk about that. So now, then at the end, later, we talk about how to make a character. So let's see what was going on here with character creation. And here we are. Okay. Yeah, we had just said, we were just talking about this mastery down here. And I was thinking about mastery. This didn't come up when we were talking about experience. We're trying to come up with some, like, what's the most elegant kind of. Well, this one is actually kind of, it's not Call of Cthulhu because you're not looking at individual skills or something, but you are tracking mastery along down here at the bottom. And you can only level in order to basically level up. How do we feel about this? We didn't really have a conversation about this, but how do we feel about mastery? So mastery is the highest form of progression for a character. Each time you roll a natural 20 on a D20 roll, mark 1 point of mastery on your sheet. When you have 20 points of mastery, you've made it. You've now mastered an element of the character. Here's the best part. Once you've reached mastery, clear out all of your mastery points and choose any mastery ability for your type. If that ability calls for a specific starter loot, gain it instantly. Yes, mastery is huge. This process can be done 3 times per character. How long will it take you to roll 60 natural 20s? You're about to find out. What do we think about this method of character advancement? Of course, I've played the index card RPG, but I've never gotten into it enough where mastery mattered. So I think this is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I would need to try it without house ruling it first. Because we're always sometimes, we're like, oh, well, I don't know, this is something different. Perhaps I would change it up, but first of all, you should understand how it works in its own context. My thoughts are this clearly favors characters who roll dice. It's incentivizing you to roll dice. That's my first thought is, okay, this is incentive to roll dice, because if you don't roll dice, you're not going to be able to level up. And we have talked about, at least in other games, how dice kill characters, how randomization and randomness is often lethal to player characters. So in this case, in those games, you're disincentivized from rolling dice. If you can do this without rolling dice, you should do it without rolling dice. Here, we're pushing the other way with this system. No, you need to be able to, in order to advance, you're going to have to be rolling dice. If you've got both of those things, if dice kill characters in the index card RPG, but you've got to roll dice in order to advance, I guess that those things might balance out. It's not just about rolling dice. It's the same for in fact, in a sense, it is just about rolling dice. Unlike in something like Call of Cthulhu, where the more skills you get, the harder it is to advance. But if you're not very skilled, the easier it is to advance. This is entirely on the roll of the die, rolling natural 20s. How long will it take you to roll 60 natural 20s? It depends on how much dice rolling there is in a session. So I suppose if you're doing a real role-playing heavy session, you may not be rolling a lot of dice in those. So how long will it take you? Well, I guess it depends on how many dice rolls they're going to be. So players probably want to play in games with more dice rolls because that's going to allow them allow them more chances to hit the natural 20s. But how long will it take you to roll those? Well, unknown, right? I guess that's another thing. As we're talking about with the one hit points and all of that, rolling one hit point and all of that. The other day we were talking about the old school RPGs. Like, is everybody really going to roll one hit point? Well, yes, or pretty close to it. You can have a table all sit down and roll one hit point. So it does seem like, how long will it take you to roll 60 natural 20s? Potentially longer than you've got, right? So that one's also kind of strange too, because we talked about, in this case, I suppose the advancement is outside of both the player and the GM's hands. Because if it's experience points, well, okay, if it's experience points, the game master does have to put things in there in the game that give you experience points. But we talked about how players who like to feel like they've got control over their character and their advancement might like the experience points because because they know what they've got to go and kill. If it's something like Dungeons and Dragons and you level up through combat, they know how many things they've got to kill before they can level up. In milestone leveling, it puts it all in the game master's hands. You'll level up when the game master, it's appropriate for the game to level up. This is in neither of their hands. Neither the player nor the game master is going to be in charge, really is going to understand when they're gaining mastery. So if it were like leveling, that seems like it would be something difficult for the game master to plan around. Let's see what people are saying. BGD says mastery rewards go hand in hand to complement milestone rewards in ICRPG's elegant and flexible character progression system. Stray says, I've never lived long enough to master something, but it sounds awesome. BGD says milestones are awarded in appropriate in-game narrative context and can be regimented so they are presented in tiers by the magnitude of the ability. Sable says dice don't kill characters in the ICRPG as a rule. That's pretty much an OSR thing. Well, I mean, I think overall, randomness hurts player characters, right? So the more randomness in the game, it should hurt the player characters. That's randomness as far as number of dice rolls, but also when the dice are rolled. We talked about that a lot with what type of dice we should be rolling and their impact on the game. The more randomness you've got, it should hurt the PCs overall. When you think about, well, let's say they're fighting goblins. If you are in a non-random kind of game, the goblins may not be as good as the PCs, and they're not going to be able to do as much damage. But the more random, and the goblins might be just relying on a lucky hit. How am I going to be able to hit one of the PCs? It's not because the goblins or the kobolds or whatever are particularly skilled. They're going to rely on basically lucky hits and rolls of the dice. And then the more dice that you roll, the more likely things are to happen negative to the PCs. That, you were critical hit, the kobold critical hit you, because you're going to have a lot of dice rolled against you. The PCs are going to have a lot of dice rolled against them during the game. They're going to be rolling fewer dice against any particular creature. Hey, John. Good morning. BGD says, conversely, mastery rewards happen more capriciously because they are tied to critical rolls. They tend to be bigger leaps in progression, and you only ever require 3 of them in your PC's career, making it an excellent counterpoint to the milestones. Both types of character progression in ICRPG encourage players not to just roll dice, but to do something and to get things done. Philip says player choice is what kills players, not the dice or the GM. That's it's an OSR thing. Information, choice, impact. You provide information to your players, the players make their choice, and then suffer or reap the impact. PH says, ask me, have I seen the Streets of Peril RPG? It's a mix of many ideas, but it has some interesting mechanics. The creator is an expert HEMA practitioner. I have never, I've never heard of that one. The Streets of Peril? Oh, it was the Kickstarter one? I missed that one. A complete sword and sorcery RPG with a Renaissance setting and intuitive D6 dice pool. Oh, that was rather recent. This is rather recent. If it's the same one. No, I haven't heard about that one. All right, so those were our thoughts here on the mastery. Let's see where we go from there. All right, let's take a look at character creation. So we've got abilities. Ability is a term ICRPG uses to describe a feature of your character that is intrinsic. It can never be lost or removed. You gain abilities when the character is created and when you reach a milestone. It's important to pursue character abilities, character abilities, because they greatly impact your specialization, areas to outshine others, and value to the group. Some abilities interact with others in powerful ways. When this happens, it's called synergy, and it's cool. Choose one ability from your type. 7, powers. Choose one ability from your type. I guess the types are... So players, life form, so the Elfheim, life form of Elfheim. Okay. We'll keep going in order. 7, powers. There are heroes and then there are superheroes. If you're creating a character in Vigilante City or a character with superhuman capability in any world, you'll be selecting and using powers. Powers are like abilities. They can never be taken away once granted, but they are nearly unlimited in potential. Powers, unlike abilities, will never be added to your character. They can only be upgraded over time. When creating a superhero character, choose any 3 powers at level 1. Augments. Some stories alter the heroes themselves. When technology, digital or arcane, is integrated into living bodies, those are augments. These are mainly found as cybernetic implants in altered state games, but every genre has the potential for mechanical limbs or eerie crystal eyes. So loot. Okay, I remember us talking about that loot has a lot to do with character creation here. So and the character abilities. So let's take a look at loot. BGD says, from my personal experience, if you have players moving through 4 scenes in a 3 to 4 hour game session, assuming about 5 participants and 10 to 12 minutes a round at approximately 5 rounds per scene, this is the kind of information I like. On average, you can expect players to hit about 1 D20 20 critical per gaming session. In recent years, I've seen players hit as many as 6 in a night or on a cold streak lasting several sessions. See, that seems like that could hit discouraging. On average, you can expect players to hit about 1 D20 20 per gaming session. That's a lot of gaming. To hit 20, I mean, your first benefit is at 20, and then but you got to get to 60 if you want to be at full mastery, I guess. I can see how that would be discouraging if you hit a cold streak for several sessions. This rule of thumb has been borne out in my current home characters have gained 3 mastery awards inside of 60 sessions, where all the characters have gained 3 mastery awards inside of 60 sessions. So basically, if you were playing once a week, so a year. All right, let's take a look at loot. Here is where ICRPG really finds its identity. Besides the ever useful index cards themselves, loot. The vast majority of your character's progression and power will be in what loot you have and use. And I know that some people have put in the comment section that they don't like the idea of what kind of gear you've got determining something about like the class of your character, like effectively the class of your character. But let's see how this is implemented here. There were things like Knave, when we looked at the first Knave, that was all based on what your character was going to carry. It was all equipment based. So if you wanted to become a spellcaster later, start swapping out equipment for the spells. Maul's Ritter is also like that. We might have to put we might have to put Maul's Ritter in the coffee shop one day. Okay, loot can be found, awarded, created, traded, lost, and destroyed. Even spells are kept on scrolls and precious pages. Gems, chains, and counterweights enhance weapons. From the magical to the digital, what you carry versus what you keep equipped will let you tune and adjust your character for all kinds of special capability. Complete your new character by choosing 4 basic loot, then follow the 2 key rules below as you grow and gather more goodies. Choose 1 starting loot for your type. Choose any 4 basic loot from your world. So starter and milestone. Always feel free to choose abilities or loot for your type, either as starters or as a milestone reward. More possibilities is always good. Always feel free to choose abilities or loot for your type, either as starters or as milestone rewards. So inventory is limited to 10 carried items and 10 equipped items. Carried items must be equipped to offer benefit or to be used. So this is Alfheim, an age of kingdoms. In ICRPG, when someone gains a mastery reward, the whole table cheers. This is a big deal because it should be. Very different from character progression from 5e's. F you, I want mine when I come through the door, and then I want more. Yeah, Phil says, remember, there are milestone paths which are kind of like class paths. Okay, so hopefully we're going to get that explained over here in a moment. Okay, so this is one of our settings right here. In a remote corner of the cosmos, a planet called Earth is orbited by a shattered moon called Ironheart. Ironheart. Here, the epic of castles and steel has lingered for centuries. The nations of this blue world rise and fall, not realizing their role in the wider universe or their pivotal possession of mythic wizard locks, which bind all times and places together. The largest continent here is Alfheim, somewhere between the quiet of the primordial days and the smoke of the machine age it rests. Magic and mystery still hold this place, but it's a vast, diverse landscape of cultures and places. Many great stories have come to pass on Alfheim, none more important than now. The arrival of the starfaring Tortons have brought this world into cosmic conflict. The people here are beginning to realize that before they can take their place in the struggle of the stars, they must survive a war that could destroy them all. Onto this landscape, you arrive. Your heroic deeds need doing. Player's Guide. 6 things your character needs to know. These 6 facts are known across the realm of Alfheim and should, in some way, affect the origin story of every character you create. Troubled times. King Henrik is missing. The armies of Set, the undead serpent god of Koth, have decimated human culture in recent years. The offensive culminated with the abduction and assumed death of the crowned king of Alfheim, Henrik the Hawk. Almost nothing is known of what happened. Darkness and ruin followed. Iridrum has been destroyed. When Dothrax, the ageless dragon, was released by a band of reckless wizards, her fury was terrible. The vast mountain city of Iridrum was utterly destroyed, sending a population of dwarves east, where their numbers and resolve are growing in Duradin. Gerblins have joined mankind. Once a scapegoat for every form of petty villainy, Gerblins have risen from the old ways and embraced a new nobility. Their society has also gained new technological advancements and is ready to make war. Standing at the very brink, gee. Standing at the very brink of open war with the elves of Scar, Gerblins have been sent to all corners of the world seeking allies in the coming chaos. Oh, see, hey, Jason. Good morning, Jason. BGD says milestone paths are outlined starting on Master Edition, page 67. The 5 paths presented tiered and themed milestone rewards to augment those on the lists and character types. So you think it's Gerblin? It may be Gerblin. It's probably Gerblin instead of Gerblin. Let's see. Of course, my Master Edition is here on the bottom of the stack here. So the paths, we go to page 67. The paths are like thematic templates that add an additional mechanical dimension to the character class type you choose. A wizard on the path of iron will have thematic similarities with a shadow. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's wait, hang on. This is probably more important than looking at the world at the moment. Player's guide. Let me scroll down through here. I might turn on the auxiliary camera here. Take a look at these paths right here. So here are your character types. So I was talking about choose something according to your type. So here is like warrior. Starting ability, choose 1. Slayer. If attacking an enemy you've already harmed, do ultimate damage. Or defender. Allies within close range of you may use your defense stat. Pit fighter. When you take damage, add the amount of the last hit against you to the next hit you make. Starting loot, weapon gem. Customize any one weapon with a special counterweight to give this weapon a +2 effort bonus. The gem cannot be removed. Whereas your milestone abilities include things like ever stronger, add 1 to any stat, power strike on the attack roll of a modified 15+, do your maximum effort. Intervention, once per round, intercept an attack against a close ally. Endurance, when recovering, add D6 to the normal amount. Hurler, use your strength to attack with a weapon as a thrown weapon. Revenge, enemies you injure will only fight you until dead or defeated. Enemies you injure will only fight you until dead or defeated. Oh, maybe only fight you. Only fight you. So like tanking, I thought that enemies who are dead that you have injured will only fight you until they're dead. Like, okay, I injured you. It's fine. Go away. But I think it's tanking, so it's putting their attention on you. Berserk, spend D4 HP to add an additional attack of your turn. Whereas mastery is things like Slayer. At any time you destroy an enemy, automatically hit another enemy within close range with no limit on the chain reaction. Defender, anytime an enemy fails to hit you because of defense, gain 1d4 HP. Or pit fighter, with any type of weapon, roll strength to hit and add strength to your effort roll. So that's the difference between things like milestone abilities and mastery here. So BGD is saying a wizard on the path of iron will have thematic similarities with a shadow, also on the path of iron, but he will seem quite distinct from another wizard progressing on the path of smoke. Okay, so hunter. So this is another type, hunter. Shadow. So here's the shadow we're talking about. So this is like a assassin, thief, or scout are your starting abilities. Choose 1. Starting loot, choose 1. Dagger kit, spider claws, or pocket cloak. Bard, we got. Mage. Alfheim, basic loot. So choose 4 of these. Adventurer's Pack is one of them. a torch, bedroll, scrap of jerky, apple, pipe, and rope. This rucksack has been through so much you're not sure what's inside. Healer's kit, mixed armor garb, heavy plate and chain armor, common shield, iron shield, traveler's garb, more Alfheim basic loot. Each occupies 1 inventory slot. Spells, okay. Roll intelligence. So we are rolling to cast here. I was listening. I just barely got started listening to Kelsey talk yesterday on a new live stream. I think it was a live stream. It may have been previously recorded. It doesn't matter. But she was actually talking about a lot about the influence of ICRPG on Shadow Dark, because we mentioned that a couple of times with something like the Death Timer. But she was very explicit about that in what I just started to listen to her talk about that. Wisdom, Player's Guide, Warp Shell, Infinite Space. So now this is another world. Okay, let's actually take a look at this milestone paths in the time that we have remaining here. S5 Photog, welcome. Good to see you. So yeah, it looks like we need to go over here. Hey, Michael. S5. Okay, S5. There we go. So welcome, S5. BGD says, in ICRPG, Hunter can serve as a ranger or a gunslinger type. For instance, if you want to build a Legolas clone or an Elven Hunter, the Path of Oak would be your best ticket. All right, let's take a look at these milestone paths. Let me turn on the auxiliary camera. I'll take this down. We'll get the auxiliary camera going and see what's actually in the physical book. Let me move stuff out of the way. Let me get this light on. Where's my light? Oh, here we are. Okay. All right, go auxiliary camera. So, didn't know we were going to see Yogg-Sothoth this morning. Everybody say hi to Yogg-Sothoth. Good morning, Yogg-Sothoth. Okay, so here we go. Milestone paths. Oh, S5 is one of the core staff for Runejammer, by the way, as is Phil. Oh, fantastic. Or core enthusiasts. Well, welcome. I'm very glad to have you both here this morning. I saw you had been commenting, Phil, on some of the other videos as well, so that's fantastic. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, I almost canceled this. All right, so milestone paths. A milestone path gives your character something to strive for, something to become. They can be used with any class. Think of a milestone path as the heroic realization of your character's goals, not the starting point. Milestone paths are a series of rewards earned at specific tiers. To access a tier, earn at least 2 rewards from the previous tier. Rewards occur at milestone moments. See page 75. Path rewards are bound to you and cannot be given or traded with others. Players can switch paths at any time, mixing and matching to create all kinds of new synergies. The nature of the system rewards those dedicated to a single path with deeper rewards, but allows a jack-of-all-trades approach to those who want to dabble in numerous paths. In time, characters will have a point of progression in any given path, presenting them with interesting choices at each milestone moment. Okay, so we've got 5 paths here. Philip says, I'm here for ICRPG, and I've recently been getting into Into the Odd. We took a look at Into the Odd. Karen and similar systems. We looked at both of those. We looked at both of those on the morning grind. I got Into the Odd sitting over here someplace. And then I remember we looked at Karen digitally. So yeah, I remember going through those. But somebody else was talking about Karen lately. So it must be really popular or growing in popularity. So the 5 paths we've got, it says, are path of iron. This is the mind of metal, the weapon master, the armorer, and the mechanic. Like iron, those who master this path become invulnerable to the forces that erode our world. Path of smoke, you are the hidden. You are there and not there, ever changing, gone in an instant. And elemental as night itself. Dark indeed is the soul who walks down the shadowy road, for it often leads to a place that terrifies most mortals. Path of amber. Amber is alive, eternal. At its highest level, the path of amber allows its masters to bend time and space, break the cosmic laws, and even dare the boundaries between dimensions. Path of oak. The cosmos is a great and ageless tree. Mastery of the oaken path renders its practitioners indistinguishable from cosmic life forces, and in this unity there is great power. Whereas path of the hawk, you are the uncanny marksman, be it guns, bows, or even darts. You specialize in incredible feats of accuracy. You are the tactician, the battlefield controller. You select targets, focus fire, and leave the enemy no retreat. Okay, so that's, abstract, and thematic. Let's see. Philip says, I think something that may not have been said is that the index card RPG is very much a do-it-yourself or DIY RPG system. This book gives you some skeletons and tools, but you can make it play as you see fit. I think at least in one of the beginnings, we did talk about that, okay, this is a toolkit kind of thing. Now, there are the 5 different, I believe there were 5, but there are 5 different campaign worlds set out in this book, right? So this is, we've got several different campaign worlds depending on what we want to play in this book. Ghost Mountain, Vigilante City, Warp Shell, Alfheim. But it's designed to as a toolkit to create other things. Let's see. Okay, so Path of Iron, for example. Let's just take the example of the Path of Iron. So a tier 1 reward is Mark of the Falcon, carried an iron symbol. Con rolls become easy. Duranium Signet, a curious indestructible ring. When equipped, ignore 1d4 damage done to you once per round in battle. Kit of Spikes. Carry this equipment to give your gear a painful, toothy surface. Even when you miss in melee, inflict 1d4 damage on your target. War Caller. Equip this metal-etched war horn, usually worn at the belt. When used, you will earn the attention of all enemies or hostiles within a far radius. They will be fixed on you for 1d4 rounds. So it said you've got to have 2 tiers, 2 rewards at one tier before you can choose another one. To access a tier, you must earn at least 2 rewards from the previous tier. But you can switch paths at any time. So if you wanted to take tier 1 rewards from Path of Iron, Path of Smoke, Path of Amber, Path of Oak, I'm going to have to think more about this thematic kind of character progression. So, but okay, so that was the tier 1. If you go further into this, then you end up with tier 2 rewards. Would be something like, for instance, the Last Dagger. This blade is indestructible. It's a magic weapon. If it's lost, you find it again in 1d4 rounds. Or Shield Harness. Strap affixed to your shield. Equipped, you will never drop your shield. Failed ranged attacks against you ricochet back to their origin. A tier 3 reward would be Buckle Kit. First aid kit in a belt. Heals 3 HP with a touch and wisdom check. Or World Breakers, a collapsible duranium javelin. It's a magic. So this is all very much about equipment. Has all of these been something that is some type of equipment? I believe it has so far, at least in this one. A collapsible duranium javelin. It's a normal magic weapon except for when used against stone. If attacking stone, roll a natural 15, destroys the target entirely up to a far cubic volume. Well, and then tier 4 rewards include things like Life Drinker. Take 2 hearts of int effort to create a supreme weapon of your own design. It always does ultimate damage and heals you for 1d4 HP with each hit. Duranium Hand. With 2 hearts of strength effort, you design and build a prosthetic hand. You can possess 3 int spells and 5 for your armor and 3 for your strength. The Iron Will, a metal ingot worn on a chain. If you kill a foe, roll a critical hit or inflict 10 points of damage, attack again. So the path of smoke was like, equip this bracelet. You cannot be poisoned by normal venom or toxins. Also, you can create poisons with an int check, types slow, paralysis, or blindness. The Ebony Hood, this light-absorbing cloak and hood deflects attention. When seen, enemies choose you as a target, only if they have no other option. Oh, BGD says, just DM'd you on Discord with a link to a post that gives a workable example of how milestones and paths can be worked into an ongoing ICRPG campaign. All right, we'll check that out. Let's see. Philip says, if you notice, a lot of these are loot. If you notice, a lot of these are loot or gear. It's not directly stated, but loot and gear can be taken or destroyed. Play smartly. Okay, so these don't have plot protection. Because it was saying, we read something else in the guide, like your abilities. It explicitly said that your abilities are not something that can be taken from you. Whereas something that is acquired through a milestone advancement could be. Okay, let me take this down. Let me see what's going on. What link you sent. Let's take a look at it before we. Oh, okay, right here. Well, not that. Okay, right here. This particular passage. Here's my keyboard. Let's zoom in on this. So it looks like this right here. So BGD writes, my group just played their 20th gaming session in my version of the Elfheim setting since the second week of August. These players have earned 7 milestone rewards each, tending to complete a quest or otherwise do something really heroic, like defending a village or cleaning out a dungeon every 2 or 3 sessions. My riff on the milestone tiers originally presented in the ICRPG worlds involve a sort of exponential curve of access to the higher tiers as follows. First milestone, tier 1 or equivalent reward. Second milestone, tier 1 or equivalent reward. Third milestone, tier 2 or equivalent reward. Fourth milestone, tier 1. Fifth milestone, tier 1. Sixth, tier 2. Seventh, tier 3. Milestones 8 through 14 will repeat the progression above, and milestone 15 will be tier 4. If these players progress that far with their current characters before the campaign comes to a natural narrative ending, I'll move to retire them and have everyone start anew. The progression has seemed pretty organic so far, and the players' increased abilities feel earned based on the amount of adventuring they've accomplished successfully. It gives them a nice selection of low-level rewards when making the higher tier rewards seem very special. I mean, I like a lot of this. I mean, I've said before, I like I like a lot of the philosophy of the index card RPG. I do like the idea of thinking in terms of rewards rather than levels. So, and letting players choose what this is. Oh, you come to this. So, of course, like I said, I am a fan of something like Call of Cthulhu, where you need to use skills in order to level up. So this is interesting. I mean, it's very interesting. We've got thematic milestone levels up, but it's not a universal. All right, everybody just leveled up. It's just talking about specific abilities, in some cases gear, that you get as a result of this that helps you out. And then you also have the mastery going on in the background for players who are rolling 20s. Very interesting. So that's why I said I wanted to get back into this one, especially when I started thinking about design, because I'm still thinking that, oh, good morning, Interlight, that there's some way I believe that Fate and index card RPG can be combined in a really great way. But with some custom dice. I was trying to not think about the custom dice, but we'll get into that later. We got to go through cultist RPG design first. So BGD says that's one way to do it. It can be done in many different ways. ICRPG offers the GM tools and flexibility. All right. Well, I am going to cut out for today, but please do, Philip says you can make milestones stay as loot or they can be taken as abilities too, all part of the DIY, as BGD said. Yes. Okay. So tonight, yes. So tonight, I think I'm going to go do some intense house cleaning. Got to get the house cleaning before I start writing again. But tonight, 8:00 p.m. Central Time on the Table Talk channel, that will be with Retro Nerd Girl. Please do come by. Remember, we're starting an hour late. I'll put it in the Discord server as well. But Table Talk tonight, 8:00 p.m. We'll be talking with Retro Nerd Girl. And then also come over here to RavenCon. If you want to play, we're doing a test here. I got 7. Is that still right? I got 7 slots right here for Saturday. We'll play games from 5 o'clock to 10. We'll give a test out. We'll test all the system and see what we can do here. We'll play games. RavenCon. If you want to come in, there's the link. All right. I will see everybody tonight, 8 o'clock, to talk with Retro Nerd Girl. Later, everybody.